Здравствуйте, это проект Terra Incognita.
Hello, this is Terra Incognita. My name is Anton Fyodorov and I finally reached the main city of our country. I am in the capital of Kazakhstan, Astana. Ancient and brand new, young and very important at the same time. The city that has been provincial once, and today it sets the pace of development of the whole country. Astana is a city with an amazing history, no less interesting than the history of the entire state. Every building here screams, "Look at me." We had to go through a great famine, mass political repressions, the Second World War, the collapse of the Soviet Union, several economic crises, but we were able to revive. We were able to build this city, which symbolizes the most precious thing that we have, our independence. And indeed, the capital of Kazakhstan has a special energy. Astana differs from other cities of the country. Its life does not stop at all, and this is understandable, since Astana is the youngest capital in the world. In 2018, it has celebrated its 20th anniversary. And just like a young man in this age, the capital of Kazakhstan has a crazy desire to live. I'm sure the city has prepared a lot of surprises for me.
Если въезжать в столицу Казахстана по дороге...
If you enter the capital of Kazakhstan by the road leading from the airport, you will see a unique architectural complex. This is the Triumphal Arch, called Manglik Yel, which means eternal people. And this arch has a deep spiritual meaning. It symbolizes all the tests that the Kazakh people went through in their history. And, of course, all the successes that Kazakhstan has achieved over the years of independence. In world history, arches erected by different nations at different times mainly symbolize victories in major historical battles. For example, the Arch of Constantine is a famous monument located in Rome between the Colosseum and the Palatine Hill. It was built in 315 by the order of the Roman Senate and dedicated to the victory of Constantine against Maxentius at the Battle of the Milvian Bridge on October the 28th, 312. A Victory Gate is the famous Triumphal Arch located in the city of Munich, in southern Germany. It was built in 1852 by order of King Ludwig I of Bavaria and is dedicated to the glory of the Bavarian army. The Arch Manglik Yel does not represent the military victories of Kazakhstan, but the path that the Kazakh people made towards independence can rightly be called the most important battle in its history. The Triumphal Arch of Astana is a landmark architectural structure erected in honor of the anniversary of independence of Kazakhstan. One of the designers of the Triumphal Arch was Ganat Kurganov. The architect admits that the monument was built in a very short time, so it was finished by the important date in the history of the country.
Триумфальные арки в основном традиционно всегда устанавливались.
Triumphal arches have traditionally been installed on large roads at the entrance to the cities. For our Triumphal Arch, the place was designated here because this place is considered to be the entrance to the city.
Потому что здесь как бы предполагается, что это въезд в город.
The height of the construction is 20 meters, which symbolizes the 20th anniversary of independence of Kazakhstan. The arch pedestals have niches with the relief sculptures that reflect the mentality of the Kazakh nation. On the left side, there is a sculpture of Aksakal, a symbol of wisdom, a carrier of spirituality and thought of the people. On the right, there is a relief sculpture of the woman. Inside the arch, when going up, visitors can see photos showing visitors the history of the city.
Триумфальная арка Мангалик-Ель была
The Triumphal Arch Mangalyk was built in 2011, the year of the 20th anniversary of independence of Kazakhstan. The place of its construction was not chosen by chance. The height of this architectural complex is 20 meters, and this arch can be seen from almost anywhere in the city. Visiting the Triumphal Arch, you will get closer to the culture as well as the modern history of Kazakhstan. The formation of the country and the wealth of the Kazakh people led to the idea of this magnificent monument. But to learn more about Kazakhstan and its capital, you need to spend a few days to get around the many museums and exhibition halls of the Kazakh capital. This is what I intend to do.
Астана – это город, который поражает воображение своим величием.
Astana is a city that strikes the imagination with its greatness. In fact, any building here can be called a magnificent execution of architectural and engineering ideas. And now, I'm going to visit one of the most interesting places in Astana. This original building is the National Museum of the Republic of Kazakhstan. It was opened only 4 years ago, but it is considered to be the main museum of the country because it shows the entire history of the Kazakh people. The current capital of Kazakhstan did not originate from scratch. It was built on the territory inhabited by people since ancient times. The tribes of Botai culture settled here for the first time in the 3rd millennium BC. These nomadic peoples were the first in the world to turn a wild horse into a domestic animal. Later, it helped the Botai people to extend their culture to the vast territories of modern Kazakhstan. Artifacts that confirm that are shown in the National Museum of Kazakhstan.
В эпоху средних веков на территории современного города Астаны
In the Middle Ages, the residence, the winter headquarters of the Kipchak Khans, was located on the territory of the modern city of Astana. In 1997, one of the leading historians and archaeologists of Kazakhstan, Kemal Akishev, discovered a settlement called Bozok here. The settlement dates back to 10-12 centuries, and it is known that the settlement was located on one of the sections of the Great Silk Road.
Национальный музей Казахстана в Астане – самый молодой
The
музей.
National Museum of Kazakhstan is the youngest museum in the country and the largest in Central Asia. Here, everything is created with special attitude and special respect for the history of the people. You can learn about Kazakhstan and its capital Astana by visiting 11 exhibition halls, which occupy an area of 14,000 square meters and contain 200,000 exhibits showing different periods in the life of the country. However, the history of Astana has painful memories for the whole country. Not far from the city, there is another memorial complex, but it does not symbolize the victory and success of the state. It represents the terrible time of political repression that Kazakhstan went through in the 40s of the last century. In 1938, a labor camp appeared near modern Astana. It is called Alger, Akmola labor camp for wives of traitors of the motherland. Thousands of innocent women were sent here in a harsh steppe winter.
Этот мемориальный комплекс является больной страницей в истории Казахстана.
This memorial complex is a dark page in the history of Kazakhstan. The wives of the so-called traitors of the motherland were sent here to exile. The women were kept here in a camp in horrendous conditions. The temperature in winter reached minus 40 degrees, and they had to collect reeds every day just to warm up and survive.
Лагерь Алжир был уникален тем, что в нем отбывали наказание исключительно...
The Alger camp was unique because only women were serving sentences in it. Wives, sisters, mothers, and daughters of the so-called enemies of the people, traitors of the motherland. That is, these were the wives of prominent scientists, writers, public and state leaders of the Soviet Union, including Kazakhstan, of people who suddenly became enemies for their own people. They were arrested and executed, after which mass arrests of the wives of the enemies of the people began. About 20,000 women of 62 nationalities served their sentences for 15 years. That is, they were sent to Kazakhstan from all over the Soviet Union. The conditions of detention of women were truly monstrous. The camp consisted of several air brick barracks, 4 towers, and barbed wire. Prisoners were brought here continuously. There were not enough places for women, and the newcomers themselves built their barracks in a blizzard, heat, and rain. Instead of mattresses, they were using wheat sticks.
Этот вагон называют сталинским. Он был создан...
This is called Stalin carriage. It was created specially to transport the wives of traitors. Up to 70 women prisoners were transported in such a carriage in the harsh, frosty winters. It was heated by the small stove in the center. Some prisoners couldn't live and died of cold on the way. Those who reached the place had to perform heavy physical work from the very first days.
У каждой женщины была норма, каждая женщина в день должна была...
Every woman had a norm. Every day, each woman had to collect 40 sheaves of reeds. In case of non-compliance with this norm, women were severely punished. They were deprived of food or the right to write letters to their relatives, which for them was worse than famine. At the same time, women in the camp were involved in construction work. With their fragile hands, women built barracks. That is, they had to mix straw and clay with their feet, make bricks, dry them, and thus build barracks, because every day more women were brought here, and they had to do such work every day. And in the summer, women planted gardens. They dug irrigation ditches with their hands from Lake Zhalanash. The irrigation system developed by the prisoners of Alger is still functioning in our village.
Узницами Алжира, она в нашем поселке до сих пор функционирует.
Once in the camp, the woman was deprived of her surname, nationality, and most often the civil profession. She had only one title, the enemy of the people. The people were distinguished by their personal camp numbers on their clothing, on the back, sleeves, and knees. These insignia served as targets for escorts in case of escape. But despite all the tragedy and absurdity of the situation, the prisoners of the camp were young, beautiful women with children, even with infants. Behind the barbed wire, they had to renounce their beloved and dear people, but they managed to keep the light of purity, the sanctity of love and loyalty to loved ones.
Наш музей, музейно-мемориальный комплекс «Алжир», является сакральным местом Казахстана.
Our museum, the Memorial Complex Alger, is a sacred place of Kazakhstan. In 2017, our museum entered 100 sacred places of Kazakhstan, and I believe that this is well deserved and fair because this place, this land, on which Alger camp was located for many years, is sacred. Here on this land, innocent women were illegally convicted and served their sentences. They were absolutely innocent. They were guilty only for being sisters, mothers, and wives of their husbands, fathers, and brothers.
Сестрами и матерьми своих мужей, отцов и братьев.
Now the former Alger camp has steles and obelisks dedicated to the victims and prisoners of mass terror. Everything that has been preserved in the camp forever reminds of broken fates, unfulfilled hopes, and dreams of thousands of citizens who are lost in oblivion of the cruel Stalinist regime. Today, the capital of Kazakhstan is confidently looking to the future. For 20 years, Astana has been transforming into a modern metropolis. The population of the city increased 4 times and reached the level of 1 million people, and the area of the territory of the Kazakh capital doubled to 800 square kilometers. The history of Astana is amazing. Only an economically strong state can afford to embody such a complex idea with the transfer of the capital from one city to another. This project can be called one of the most ambitious projects implemented on the continent over the past 50 years. It can be compared only with a flight of man into space. But one decision to build a new capital of Kazakhstan is not enough. It was necessary to fill the city, and it was necessary to build everything modern so that Astana could compete with its beauty or the originality of buildings with other capitals of the world, and Kazakhstan coped with this task.
Знаете, чем дольше я нахожусь в Астане, тем лучше.
You know, the longer I stay in Astana, the better I understand that indeed the capital of Kazakhstan is a city that is created for people. I caught myself thinking that with gaining the status of the capital of Kazakhstan, life in Astana has become completely different. The population of the city began to grow very quickly. Civil servants, architects, builders, engineers, teachers, doctors began to arrive here. All of them, of course, were united by one goal: to start building a new capital of Kazakhstan. And of course, all these people needed to create conditions to work and rest. There were no problems with work. Surely everyone found something to do. And what is there to do with the rest? So this problem was solved in Astana by building a real aquarium.
Отдыхом. Так вот, в Астане эту проблему решили, построив настоящий океанариум. Этот океанариум сразу же попал в книгу.
This aquarium immediately hit the Guinness Book of Records as the most remote from the nearest sea or ocean. The appearance of the aquarium in Astana was a real sensation. How can a real sea oasis arise in the steppe with amazing fish, turtles, and other oceanic wildlife? People from different cities of Kazakhstan and neighboring countries come to admire this engineering miracle. In a season, the aquarium can receive up to 1 million people per month. Lyubov Selezneva works in this entertainment center almost from the very moment of its opening and knows everything about it.
Наш аквариум был запущен в 2003 году в мае месяце.
Our aquarium was launched in 2003 in May at the initiative of our President Nursultan Nazarbayev. He looked at many countries have oceanariums and thought, why not here? There are oceanariums that are located abroad. For example, the Sochi Aquarium are near the sea. They have such problems as we do not have. They have the water. They can catch in the sea all the fish and put it in the oceanarium anything they want. And we need to import everything from abroad, even the equipment that is necessary for the operation of our aquariums. It needs to be purchased abroad. At the bottom of the most spectacular central reservoir, there is an acrylic tunnel with a length of 70 meters. Passing through the tunnel, visitors of the oceanarium have a feeling that they are walking on a seabed. And over their heads, they see predatory sharks, sea turtles, and other oceanic inhabitants.
В Астанинском океанариуме собраны поистине уникальные рыбы. Обратите внимание на этих двух.
Unique fish are presented in Astana Aquarium. Pay attention to these two. These are scorpion fish. They lie at the bottom still and in fact do not differ from corals or stones. Zero emotions. But you have to be careful with the fish. If you do not see them and step on one of them, then you can get a very serious poisonous infection. Very dangerous creatures and, most importantly, quiet ones.
И главное, такие тихие.
In order to build such an object in the capital of Kazakhstan, engineers, architects, and scientists had to work hard. It was necessary to develop the design of the building itself so that it would fit all the technical parameters and standards, but this was not enough. It was necessary to find a solution, how to bring the sea inhabitants 3,000 kilometers from their usual habitat to the very center of the Kazakh steppe. It turned out to be difficult, but doable. Today, the aquarium of Astana has become home for more than 2,000 species of fish, turtles, starfish, brought from all over the world.
Еще один любопытный факт об этом океанариуме. Здесь...
Another curious fact about this aquarium. Somewhere here, there's a real cat shark. This is a rare fish and it practically does not breed in captivity. But here, in this oceanarium, it gave offspring. So this oceanarium entered the Guinness Book of Records for the second time. That's what I told you. This fish is the offspring of a feline shark.
Вот эта рыба и есть потомство кошачьей акулы.
The inhabitants of the ocean here are under the supervision of specialists around the clock. So that the fish did not behave aggressively, they slightly changed the living conditions by making the water temperature by several degrees lower than in their natural environment. In addition, the nutrition of marine life is also under special control. The oceanarium even arranges a show when they feed predatory fish from their hands or begin to swim with sharks, moray eels, tuna, and giant turtles. Well, where else can you see that, except the capital of Kazakhstan, Astana?
У нас здесь находятся не только морские обитатели, также и пресноводные рыбы есть, там такие как карп.
We have here not only marine inhabitants, but also freshwater fish, carps, crucians, such unpretentious fish, sturgeon fish, and in the main aquarium we have the biggest fish, sharks. There is a nurse shark, 3 meters long. These are the oldest inhabitants of our aquarium. It was delivered in 2002 in December before the opening. Its size was about 80 centimeters. It was quite small. Now it has grown. It cannot be put in water just like that. The water must be ready, must be alive. In order to put the fish, we prepare the water in advance. We buy salt in Israel from the Dead Sea. On the basis of the salt, we prepare seawater. Our salinity is 30-32%. Our water temperature is 25-27 degrees. We keep it year-round because fish are considered to be cold-blooded animals. They depend on water temperature.
Такую температуру, потому что у нас рыба, это считается хладнокровное животное, оно зависит от температуры воды.
Well, I have to go on. After all, I have not yet told about the other sides of the Kazakh capital.
Астана – это город, который не перестает благоустраиваться для своих жителей круглый год.
Astana is a city that keeps improving for its residents all year round. In 2018, the capital of Kazakhstan celebrated its 20th anniversary. To this memorable date, each region of the country presented a certain gift to Astana. For example, the Terra region has built a new transitional bridge across the Joly River in the capital of Kazakhstan. Its length is about 300 meters, and this bridge is made in a futuristic style. Its parts consist of original pedals that protect people walking here in the summer from the heat and in the winter from cold winds. If you look from the top, you can see that the shape of this bridge resembles a floating fish, which is a symbol of the Terra region. The new bridge includes a 6-meter pedestrian lane and a 3-meter bike path. Lettercrawl is used to cover the bridge. The design was created taking into account weather conditions, including wind load, and it weighs almost 2,000 tons. This bridge has become a real decoration of the Kazakh capital and a very popular place for walking.
Каждый турист, который приезжает в Астану, должен четко понимать, что даже одной недели не хватит для того, чтобы осмотреть.
Every tourist who comes to Astana should clearly understand that even 1 week is not enough to see all the sights of the Kazakh capital. And, of course, we must take into account the weather conditions. If the sun was still shining this morning, then, in the second half of the day, the clouds appeared all over the sky and it is going to rain. But I still have time to visit another very interesting place.
Приглашаю на судоходную прогулку по реке Есень. Итак, мы на одном из катеров.
I invite you to a boat trip along the Joly River. So, we are on one of the boats, and now we will go to see the local sights. The length of the route along the Joly River is 6 kilometers. The history of shipping in the capital of Kazakhstan dates back to 2009. In the first years, only 5 boats sailed the river, 3 of which were passenger ships. Now the shipping fleet has expanded to 14 ferries that can carry 1,500 people per hour. The boat trip is an entertainment that not every modern capital can be proud of. The route goes from the old part of the city to the new one and back. You can enjoy the beauty of Astana from the ferries that run along the river every 40 minutes.
Мне повезло. Дождь не застал меня в пути, и я могу насладиться красотами Казахстана.
I am lucky. It wasn't raining, and I can enjoy the beauty of the Kazakh capital. In general, the Joly River divides Astana into 2 parts. The left bank is the administrative center of the Kazakh capital with skyscrapers. There are buildings of parliament, government, financial organizations, and national companies. And the right side is called the Old City. The historical heritage of Astana was preserved there. Astana is a city that breathes air of the steppes. The new capital of Kazakhstan represents the success and development of the independent Kazakhstan. Here in the Saryarka steppe, the dream of many generations of the Kazakh people, the dream of freedom and independence, came true.
Это была очередная серия проекта Terra Incognita. Меня зовут Антон.
It was another episode of Terra Incognita. My name is Anton Fyodorov, and I have a few more days in the capital of Kazakhstan. In the next episode, I will continue my story about this amazing and truly beautiful city, Astana.